Concept 3, solving ax squared plus bx equals c by completing the square. Alright, so the difference between this and our last concept is now we have a coefficient, we have a value on our x squared. So the only thing that really changes is we've got to divide it away. Okay, we can't complete the square with it there. So we're going to divide all of our terms by 3 in this case. Okay, end up with x squared minus 5/3 x, and I'm going to move that negative 2/3 over, add 2/3 to both sides, add 2/3, and leave my gap equals 2/3. Okay, so now I've got to deal with fractions. All right, and they do make things a little more complicated, but all of our processes are going to be the same. Okay, I'm finding that third term to complete the square. So I'm taking my b, which is negative 5/3. Okay, negative 5/3, and remember we would divide that by 2. That's the same as multiplying my denominator by 2. So I basically have a negative 5/6 squared. Okay, and with squaring, okay, just like with square roots, when you've got a fraction inside, you can do them independently of one another. So I can take this and say that that is 25, okay, positive 25 over positive 36. Okay, so that's going to be my third term, 25 over 36, and add 25 over 36. And I know that looks messy, but it will all hopefully work out for us. Okay, so I've got my square, right? I've got my completed value. So what I'm going to do is come back to this and say, okay, I've got my two factors are x and negative 5/6. Okay, because remember that's the that is my square root of 25 over 36. Okay, that's the root that I have. Okay, squared, and then I've got my 2/3 and my 25 over 36. And let's convert and combine these. It's going to be hard to change this denominator. Those aren't going to have a common factor. So let's figure out the common factor here. If I'm taking 3 and making it 36, I'm going to be multiplying by 12. So 3 times 12 is 36. 2 times 12 is 24. Works out nicely. 24 plus 25, I've got 49 over 36. Okay, and if I take the square root of both sides, I've got x minus 5/6 is equal to positive or negative square root of 49/36. And these numbers do work out pretty nicely for us because the square root of 49 is 7 and the square root of 36 is 6. And so I get x minus 5/6 is equal to positive or negative 7/6, which will give me x is equal to 7/6 plus 5/6, and x is equal to negative 7/6 plus 5/6. Okay, combining those, I'll have 12/6 or x equals 2, and -2/6 or x is equal to -1/3. So you can see with these problems we will often have more fractions in them, but they will often work out fairly nicely. Okay. Another one I wanted to show you, just to make sure that we remember they're there, all right, is this one. So I've got my start, okay, divide by 4, divide by 4, divide by 4. I get x squared minus 1x plus 9/4 equals 0, but actually in the same step I'm going to move that over. So I get plus some number equals -9/4. Okay. Now I do my -1 divided by 2 squared to get 1/4. All right, so that's going to be my term. I add 1/4. I add 1/4. And when I evaluate that, I get x plus -1/2, okay, is equal to 1/4 plus -9/4, -8/4, or -2. Okay, and then I go in, get my square root, and this is where I stop. Okay, I've done all my steps correctly, but what am I doing? I'm trying to take the square root of a negative number. If that ever pops up, remember, this we know has no solutions. Okay, I can't take the square root of a negative number, so this is no solutions. Okay, and just like before, with completing the square, you can have one solution. Okay, most of the time you'll have two solutions, but you can have one solution or no solutions. So keep an eye out for those as well.